Imagine the sheer scale of declaring war on an enemy that doesn't wear a uniform. That's exactly what the US has set in motion under Donald Trump's leadership. A formal declaration of war against the drug cartels has shaken the foundations of the US's approach to security. This isn't just a political move, it's a strategic shift in how the nation plans to fight organized crime that extends well beyond its borders. But why are the US military forces taking such drastic measures now? The answer lies in the growing influence and power of these cartels, the threat they pose to national security, and the need to take aggressive action to protect the American people. In this video, we'll break down what this new military phase means for both the US and its relationships with global allies and adversaries. The rise of drug cartels, particularly in Mexico, has become an increasingly critical issue for the United States. These criminal organizations aren't just smuggling drugs, they're controlling vast swaths of territory, creating violence, and fueling instability across the region. But the threat isn't confined to Mexico's borders. Cartels have established complex international networks that pose a direct challenge to US national security. This isn't just a battle over illegal drugs, it's a broader geopolitical struggle. The US government has recognized that the cartel's influence reaches far beyond trafficking, affecting everything from trade to border security. In an era of heightened global tension, the cartels are no longer seen as just a domestic issue. They've evolved into a transnational security threat, requiring a stronger, more coordinated military response. The next logical step? A formal declaration of war. But what does this mean for the US and its allies? Declaring war on a transnational criminal organization is not a move taken lightly. When Trump announced the US's formal engagement in this fight, it wasn't just a statement, it was the beginning of a massive all-out campaign. Unlike traditional warfare, where borders and uniforms are clearly defined, this battle involves tackling a complex network of decentralized, elusive enemies. But why did the US escalate things to this level? For years, cartels have grown more powerful, more brazen, and far more sophisticated. From smuggling operations to corrupting local governments, their influence has become undeniable. This growing power presented a significant national security threat, prompting the US to treat them as an enemy force. The decision to engage in direct military action against cartels signals a paradigm shift in US policy, one that sees these organizations not just as a criminal nuisance, but as a critical global security threat. And with this declaration of war, new aggressive military tactics are now in play, including increased surveillance, covert operations, and even possible military incursions. Cartel-controlled territories. This shift marks a significant turning point, and the US is making it clear they're ready to fight a new kind of war. But the question remains, how effective will this strategy be in the long run? In the battle against cartels, the US isn't relying solely on traditional military might. It's bringing cutting-edge technology into play. The US military has long been known for its superior technological capabilities, and in this new phase of warfare, technology will be one of the primary weapons in the fight against cartels. Drones, surveillance satellites, and artificial intelligence are being integrated into operations to track cartel movements in real time. These technologies allow the US military to gather critical intelligence without exposing ground troops to unnecessary risk. For example, drones equipped with high-resolution cameras can monitor cartel activity from miles away, giving the US an unparalleled advantage in precision strikes and surveillance. But technology isn't just about surveillance. It's also about direct combat. Hypersonic missiles and advanced weaponry are now part of the arsenal aimed at dismantling cartel networks. These tools allow the US military to hit targets with pinpoint accuracy, minimizing civilian casualties while disrupting cartel operations. This technological advantage doesn't just provide a military edge, it changes the very nature of how war is fought. The cartels, once elusive and untouchable, are now facing a new kind of warfare. The question is, will these high-tech strategies be enough to tip the scales in favor of the US? The fight against cartels is not one the U.S. can tackle alone. While the U.S. military brings overwhelming technological and tactical power, the real key to success lies in cooperation with Mexico. Despite occasional political tensions, the two countries share a mutual interest, stopping the cartels from expanding their influence. The U.S. has been ramping up its support for Mexico's security forces, offering advanced training, intelligence sharing, and technological assistance. Together, they're setting up joint operations to take down cartel strongholds and dismantle smuggling routes that stretch across the border. But this partnership isn't without its challenges. Mexico's sovereignty, political dynamics, and internal struggles make it difficult for both sides to fully cooperate on every front. However, the escalating threat of the cartels has created a sense of urgency that's pushing both nations to work more closely together than ever before. The stakes are high. Can the U.S. and Mexico unite effectively in this shared battle? When it comes to precision and expertise in high-risk operations, U.S. Special Forces are second to none. Units like the Navy SEALs and Army Rangers have long been the tip of the spear in global military missions. Now, these elite forces are being deployed in a new high-stakes arena, the fight against cartels. Special Forces are uniquely suited for this mission. They operate in small, highly trained units, capable of executing complex missions behind enemy lines. From infiltrating cartel territories to conducting night raids, their skill set is critical in dismantling cartel operations with minimal collateral damage. While the U.S. military at large can target cartel networks, Special Forces are the ones who go deep into hostile territory. Their expertise in counterterrorism, reconnaissance, and hostage rescue translates perfectly into neutralizing cartel leaders and cutting off the head of these dangerous organizations. In this new phase of warfare, Special Forces are crucial to the U.S.'s strategy of swift, decisive action against cartels. The U.S.'s declaration of war on cartels has undeniably shifted the dynamics of its relationship with Mexico. While both nations share a common enemy in the cartels, the military approach has created tensions. For Mexico, the idea of foreign military intervention, even with cooperation, raises concerns about sovereignty and national pride. The U.S. military's increased presence and operations within Mexico could be seen as an overstep, especially when it comes to border security and enforcement. However, the growing influence and danger of cartels have made it clear that the current approach isn't enough. Both countries must navigate this delicate balance, cooperating on counter-narcotics efforts without undermining Mexico's autonomy. Despite the tensions, the urgency of the situation may force both governments to strengthen their partnership, with both sides understanding that the only way to truly dismantle the cartels is through collaborative efforts that respect each nation's priorities and limits. In the modern battlefield, cyber warfare has become an indispensable tool, and it's no different in the fight against cartels. The U.S. military has increasingly turned to cyber capabilities to target the cartel's operations from behind the digital curtain. Hacking cartel communications, disrupting their financial networks, and intercepting critical data are now part of the strategy. Cartels thrive on secrecy and digital anonymity, but the U.S. has developed sophisticated cyber tools to exploit these vulnerabilities. With the ability to breach encrypted systems, the U.S. military can gain access to cartel communications, financial transactions, and even logistical networks, providing real-time intelligence that can be used to strike decisively. But cyber warfare isn't just about surveillance, it's about disrupting the cartel's very infrastructure. By targeting their digital resources, the U.S. can slow down smuggling operations, block illegal transactions, and cripple the cartel's ability to coordinate their efforts, all without firing a single shot. The decision to wage war on drug cartels presents several challenges for the Trump administration. First, there's the political landscape. The approach has faced criticism from both domestic and international sources. Some argue that military intervention in cartel operations could escalate violence, while others question the effectiveness of such a strategy. Additionally, the public's perception of a war against non-state actors presents its own set of challenges. especially with regard to civilian casualties and the legality of such operations. Then there's the logistical and financial burden. Military operations of this scale are expensive and require significant resources, both in terms of personnel and equipment. As the U.S. takes more aggressive actions, balancing this cost with domestic priorities becomes increasingly difficult. Lastly, there's the broader geopolitical impact. The U.S.'s actions may strain relationships with countries beyond Mexico, particularly those that view these operations as interference in regional matters. The Trump administration must navigate these obstacles carefully as they shape the long-term success of the campaign. Looking ahead, the U.S. strategy against the cartels is bound to evolve. The military's increased involvement is only the beginning of a broader, long-term approach to dismantling the cartel's global operations. One thing is certain, the fight is far from over, and the tactics will continue to adapt as the cartels become more resilient and resourceful. The integration of new technologies such as AI and machine learning will likely play a critical role. These advancements could allow the U.S. military to predict cartel movements with greater accuracy and efficiency, while cyber warfare will become even more advanced, infiltrating cartel communication channels and disrupting their operations on a digital scale. But the strategy will need to be flexible. As international cooperation deepens, especially between the U.S. and Mexico, we could see joint military operations and even more collaborative intelligence sharing mechanisms. However, the question remains, will the U.S. be able to maintain this level of involvement without facing greater political backlash or overstepping its boundaries? The stakes are high, and the road ahead is uncertain. What's clear is that the fight against cartels is shaping up to be one of the most complex and ongoing conflicts the U.S. will face in the coming decades.